I was going to do this live this morning, but my live wasn't working very good on my phone, so I'm just going to make a video of it for right now. Um, I'm still trying to learn how to do the live on the actual mobile. I know how to do it on the computer and laptop, but I'm still trying to learn how to do it on my phone. So, but anyway, I just wanted to get on here. This meeting that happened yesterday with Syria's president to meet. He met Trump at the White House for the first time. Just going to go over a couple of things here. This is a news article that kind of talks about it a little bit. And it says President Trump waived sanctions on Syria on Monday after meeting with President Ahmed al-Sharaa at the White House, the latest effort to throw his support behind the former rebel leader who had once been designated a terrorist by the United States with a $10 million bounty on his head. It was Mr. al-Sharar's first visit to the U.S. Capitol since coming to power the the first by any Syrian leader head of state to the White House. It talks about how Trump says, he wants to see Syria become a country that's very successful. Um, and you can go on and read this here. What are you growling about? Stop that, Rocky. Be nice. Sorry, my puppy dog's growling over here for some reason. Okay, so, but anyway, Syria also agreed to join the global coalition to defeat the Islamic State, which is ISIS, which remains active in Syria, according to a Trump administrative official who discussed details of the meeting on the condition of anonymity. The United States will also allow Syria to resume work at its embassy in Washington that is focused on counterterrorism, security, and economic cooperation. So, and who is this new leader of Syria? The Bible talks about how the antichrist will rise out of the areas of Syria and Iraq. It talks about that in the book of Daniel, and I didn't pull that up on Bible verses. I should have, but it does speak about that if you read the book of Daniel and the end times. The stuff that God gave him and told him to seal up until the end. Um, Now, I'm not saying this guy is the Antichrist, but he is a person that we need to kind of keep an eye on because of how he came about. He was originally born in Syria, which, or not Syria, but sorry, he was originally born in Saudi Arabia, right here, born in Saudi Arabia to a Sunni Muslim family. Um, and then he ended up joining Al Qaeda in Iraq shortly before 2003 invasion of Iraq and fought for 3 years in the Iraqi insurgency. American forces captured and imprisoned him from 2006 to 2011. So he was imprisoned for like 5 years. Says his release coincided with the Syrian revolution against the dictatorship of al-Assad. Um, he created this little group right here. Um, it's also known as the Front for the Conquest of the Levant, and later known as this other group right there. You'll see on the bottom here in the soul pull up. Okay, so it was like a little small group that started out and grew. And in 2012, with the support of Al Qaeda, and to topple the Assad regime in the Syrian civil war, which they did. They ended up taking over Damascus, and then he self-appointed himself pretty much as president of the of Syria. So, and it kind of tells a little bit more here on the side, of more stuff about him, where he was born and everything. But you got to remember, he was a known terrorist. He was captured by Americans and imprisoned for 5 years for his terrorist activities. Um, he got out and built another, by another name, another group that was a small group, and with Al Qaeda, it grew bigger to where they was able to take over Syria. Um, and that's key right there that you started out with group. That's what made me start looking at this feller here because of what Daniel said. Because if you go over here in Daniel, there's part in Daniel that it says, and after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up and become strong with the small people. And it says, and then the league made with him, that could very well easily be Al Qaeda. He shall work deceitfully, so he would come up with and become strong with the small people. And it says, he shall enter peacefully even of the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his father have not done, nor his father's fathers, and shall scatter among them prey, spoil, and riches. And that's what he's doing right now. He's like coming into all of these different places and different countries and trying to say that he's entering in peacefully now that he's became president over there. So, but anyway, and if you read the rest of this is all has to do with going down to even to the abomination that makes desolate, where he stands in the temple and proclaims that he's God. Talking about the antichrist. So we definitely need to keep an eye on this fellow. I don't trust him. Because if you look at all of these different um, groups that he was affiliated with, they're all jihadist and terrorist organizations. And I remember one time whenever I was, because I used to own a big beauty and uh, salon and spa, and I had this one woman that was a little Muslim woman, and they were from the Middle East and had moved to America. And I used to do her hair for her. And her husband, she didn't drive because her husband didn't allow her to drive. She basically didn't have no rights. She had to wear the headdress stuff all the time to cover her head. And but she would come in and get her hair trimmed, get the dead ends trimmed off and cleaned up periodically while I had that big salon and day spa. And I remember, we had became good friends. I felt really bad for her. My heart went out to her because her husband and her sons were like so. I say mean to her because they ruled over her so much. I mean, it was like with a rod, basically, and and I felt sorry for her. She suffered from Great Depression and stuff like that as well. But I remember back then had to been like 2012 or something like that. It was whenever ISIS was first getting seen in the news and stuff, and I had said something about ISIS, and she said, "Honey," she said, "they are all the same. They change their names, but they're all the same. They do that to confuse you Americans." And I have never forgotten her telling me that. They're all the same. They change their names to confuse you Americans. So, and I've always remembered that, and I honestly, I think that God allowed her to come in to be one of my clients so that I could get insight on stuff that was over there in the Middle East at that time, because she was, I feel like in my heart she was a good person. She was just born into a family and into Muslim families and stuff, and just so happened to be born over there in the Middle East. And I don't think that she really wanted to be in it, because she was so depressed all the time and so unhappy and everything because of how the men in her life treated her. And it was just really sad and stuff. And I think she was being honest with me whenever she said that. I don't think she was lying to me about that. I think that was the honest truth, because jihad terrorism is jihad terrorism. plain and simple. It's black and white. There's no shade of gray. If they are terrorizing people in the Middle East, terrorizing Jews, and terrorizing Christians in the Middle East, it's still terrorist. So, and it's still jihad. So, no matter what they try to call themselves, and I'll always remember that. Um, but anyway, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and point this kind of out to you, that he is just kind of a person of interest for us to kind of keep an eye on, as you know, Jesus told us to watch and pray, and this is definitely something to kind of pray about. I don't think that it's going to be that long, much longer, and you know, Jesus is going to come for his bride, because where things are just going in like warp speed. It's going so fast. But anyway, I love all of you, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day today. Today is Veterans Day. It's a federal holiday, so I'm off work. Um, and so I wasn't able to do this video yesterday because I had to work, but today I was off, and I thought I would go ahead and do it and test out the live, but that didn't work out very good this morning. I'm not real good with electronics, let me tell you, and I'll be the first one to admit it, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But anyway, I love all y'all, and I hope y'all have a wonderful week and have a wonderful day off if you're off work today. And those that have to work, you know, I hope y'all have a wonderful day at work too. And everyone have a good day. Bye.